Lee Block.
Lee Block.
Lee Block. Lee Block.
When asked about his future, Rodgers said, "I'm going to enjoy the hell out of this week, and then I'm going to get back to working out and figure things out in a couple weeks."
Give him his space for the next couple of weeks. Let him finish off this dream offseason.
How much more space in an offseason can an NFL player actually have? In what era of the NFL are we saying, you know what, let's give him more space and let's continue to just stroke his ego until he comes. You're a football player under a contract. You want some reasons? 35 million reasons why you should be showing up.
Is Aaron Rodgers to be or not to be? Right now, I think he's to be. I just don't think it's on July the 27th when this team reports or July the 28th.
The fact that Aaron Rodgers might not play this year is, I can't fathom it. He's too good of a player, too fun to watch for the fans. I personally hope it's in Green Bay.
2 weeks of training camp. We'll see how it pans out. We will get our answers.
And you know what, Aaron? Do whatever you want. Take as much time as you want, because this is really all about you. And I feel like as long as you feel like you need the time to relax and chill while your team is training, that's perfectly fine.
Kyle, we wish we could have hit up the WhatsApp app with the group text chain to you in Australia to say, it's over. It's over. You're going to come back, and we're not going to talk about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, what they should do, what they shouldn't do with less than 2 weeks of training camp. We unfortunately did not download that WhatsApp and hit you up because we're still in the same spot. Instead, we asked the producers to splice together just maybe a little bit of what you missed while you were away. As we sit here, like I said, end of July 27th, I think training camp starts for them. What do you make of what's going on today?
That was really fun to watch, that montage. Nate held up something that said $35 million. I thought it was gratuitous, Nate. You held up your own offer from CBS, but that's your business. Here's what I think. I thought it was very strange watching Rodgers at Tahoe. Nate's like, dude, it's way more than that. At Tahoe, he said one thing that I thought was really interesting, where he said, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of this week, and then we'll figure it out in a couple weeks. And I stopped when he said that, because that's the first time he's really specifically mentioned a time frame and training camp. And I'm like, he's going to show up, isn't he? And here's where I come out. Rodgers is a huge lover of 80s movies, so I'm sure he celebrates the John Cusack, Demi Moore film, One Crazy Summer, which is, I think, what he treated himself to this summer. I think he felt he was entitled to it. I think he said, I'm engaged. I think being engaged is one of the happiest times in anybody's life. He said, I don't want to work. I don't want to do anything. I want to do whatever the hell I want for an entire summer, and then I'll deal with football. And I'll tell you this, guys. I think one of Rodgers' true joys and passions in the world is messing with people. Specifically, I think he really enjoys messing with the media. And I can see him showing up to training camp saying, what? I don't know what all the fuss is about. You guys just made the biggest deal out of this. I just wanted to spend some summer with my fiance and spend it with my friends and spend it wherever way I wanted to. And you know what's funny? Rodgers has plausible deniability, too, that there was ever anything going on. He could sit there and say, I never said anything. I never tweeted anything. I never said I have a problem with the front office. I never said I have a problem with the GM. I just decided to keep to myself. You guys made all that up. I'm about football. I just wanted to spend it with the summer, and he'll have that little twinkle in his eye and that little Rodgers signature voice and just say, man, you guys really had a hell of a summer while I was on vacation. I don't know what this was all about, and I bet that's the way Rodgers does it. I do think he's going to show up now, and I think he will attempt to deny the entire thing, and that is his chef's kiss moment.
Chef's kiss moment. Triggs, what do you think?
True.
He does have that plausible deniability because Kyle's right.
Yeah.
It was a report from ESPN followed up by all of us, and everyone then had, all right, let me empty the bag. He called him Jerry Krause, and then he was upset when they got rid of Jake Kumaro, and that was everyone else's stories. Rodgers never publicly has said a word yet, so he could show up day one and be like, you guys and your TV and your sports media, that's what you guys do. I was going to be coming all along. Truth of the matter is, I don't think even they in the building know whether Rodgers is showing up yet. And I'm not quite certain Rodgers knows yet.
Wow.
It's going to be interesting. We've mentioned the timeline. On the 26th, they have what is the chairperson meeting with the entire investing group, which is all of the Packers people. They're going to do that publicly. Mark Murphy will preside. He'll have to talk to the fans about whether Rodgers' situation has been addressed or if they're still up in the air. And then training camp starts July 28th for those guys. And sure enough, July 31st is going to be the start of that big NFL training camp league-wide. Will he be on the field or will he not be on the field? The fact we don't know right now, and Peyton Manning doesn't know right now, and people that I believe are saying, I don't think he's coming, and then other people that I believe are like, I can't see him not coming, tells me this is going to come down to the wire, and maybe Rodgers himself isn't even 100% certain what the decision is right this moment.
That is so fascinating that we're coming to this conclusion after an offseason of us just creating all of these storylines, but it makes perfect sense. Aaron Rodgers hasn't really said anything. We just saw fire in the distance and we were like, oh man, let's just add some gasoline to it and make it as big of a blaze as we can. And he can show up and be like, guys, what was the big deal? I feel like what needs to happen is Aaron Rodgers needs to show up. That's first and foremost, okay? And then let bygones be bygones. You hear that all the time. You know, it's a phrase that people just throw out there into the wind. But what does it actually mean? I'm sitting there trying to figure out the exact definition, and there's 1,000 things that I could find. But what I'm reading right now is what's done is done. Don't worry about the past, especially past errors or grievances. That is exactly what's going on in this situation, whether Rodgers wants to admit it or not. And then, for example, here's the sentence used. Bill and Tom shook hands and agreed to let bygones be bygones. I don't know if this was written by a Patriots fan. Bill and Tom have agreed to shake hands, but I feel like maybe Aaron and Brian can shake hands and let bygones be bygones, or just Aaron and the team, Aaron in the front office, Aaron in the fan base for the Green Bay Packers can shake hands and say, let's let bygones be bygones. Because after this entire summer of us taking this storyline and trying to pick it apart 1,000 different ways, if he shows up, everything's good in Green Bay.
Everything's good in Green Bay, but for now, I don't know, Nate. And I love that you brought up the fan base a little bit. Striggs, I ask you, it's a very unique fan base. It's a very unique team with how they run things, operations-wise, business-wise. There's some tissue there, right, with this fan base. Like are they bracing themselves for a Brett Favre, I'm retiring, kidding, I'm back, like situation year to year, which is what they did as a fan base for a long time. This is a little reminiscent of that. I ask you, if he shows up, they like have a pinky promise of things like everything's great. Is this something that we're going to be bracing to talk about all season? Is it over if he shows up July 31st? Let's say I'm sitting there in Green Bay. I'm alongside James Jones. Aaron's there. Everything's fine. Kumbaya. Or is this like what we're talking about with Russell Wilson? It's fine for now, and the saga is not over. It's just quiet.
Yeah, it's a fine for now because clearly there's some discontent from the Rodgers camp, and clearly this thing got out of hand this offseason. But if he shows up, he's in. I mean, he's not coming back in and out and out. He is locked in for the season. And then I think the second that final ball snaps, whether it be in the Super Bowl with him hoisting a Lombardi or them coming up short, it'll start up again. Because if he does show up, and that's a wink and a prayer right now at this point, I think, for a lot of Packers fans. If he does show up, he's not doing it just to show up for the sake of it. He's doing it because he wants to win a Super Bowl this season.
It's fair. At GMFB with your thoughts. We've got all your headlines for you this morning. We'll talk a little Chiefs a little bit. We have a couple guests joining the show as well. But there were some troubling headlines out of Seattle yesterday. When following up on them and tracking them all day long and overnight on NFL Network. And we throw it now to Ian Rappaport, who has the very latest.
A serious situation has developed surrounding free agent cornerback Richard Sherman, who was booked and charged with 4 different charges by Redmond, Washington police yesterday. According to the police, the charges for Sherman are burglary, resisting arrest, charges involving the damaging of a door for his in-laws' house, and then burglary domestic violence. Now, no one was injured. There was no assault on anyone, but that is the charge because allegedly, according to the Redmond, Washington police, Sherman tried to break into his in-laws' house. It started, according to police, with a single car accident. Sherman then fled, tried to break into his in-laws' house. He was not able to do it. Police were called. He resisted arrest. According to police, a canine was involved. And at that point, Sherman was subdued, taken to jail, and then held without bail until a bail can be set, which is expected to happen today. Sherman, by the way, is also being investigated for an alleged hit and run that began this entire incident. Obviously, as more details emerge, we'll bring them to you. Also worth noting that